The Grand Canyon in Arizona is a unique, vast wilderness, amazing awestruck visitors since its opening as a national park in 1919. No photographs really do the massive, mile-long spectacle justice, while it's frightening to think that nearly 700 lives have been lost in its rugged terrain during that time. Its breathtaking scenery has provided the backdrop for some horrifying crimes, accidents and mysteries, as shown in these 8 stories. Glenn and Bessie Hyde. In the new spirit of adventure befitting their era, honeymooning couple Glenn and Bessie Hyde embarked on an exploration of the Grand Canyon Rapids in the winter of 1928. A month into their trip, the newlyweds' handmade wooden boat was found drifting fully upright and still stocked in the icy canyon river. Just days before, the Hydes had been sighted on the south rim of the canyon replenishing their supplies, when 22-year-old Bessie was strangely heard to say, "I wonder if I'll ever wear pretty shoes again." When the disappearance was made public by authorities, newspapers throughout the country immediately began speculating about the whereabouts of the couple who had been determined to set world records, but appeared to have vanished without a trace. A massive search, which was one of the biggest in the history of the Grand Canyon, resulted in not a single clue which would reveal their fate. Despite much theorising, the lack of any evidence saw their story remain a mystery. The RELICS. In 1879, a trader called Don McGuire was traversing the Colorado River on his journey through Arizona when he met local settler Emma Lee. In exchange for some requisites provided by McGuire, Lee offered him a decorative Navajo blanket, but warned him that the wrap carried a dark legacy. Lee claimed that the blanket was cursed and had caused constant misfortune to a late husband who had passed before his time. McGuire disregarded what he considered her superstition and left the canyon the next day. However, during the next 2 years, McGuire recorded how he had endured 100 calamities, a series of misfortunes ending only after he mislaid the blanket. Similar stories around cursed Native American relics are frequently heard at the Grand Canyon, with park rangers regularly receiving letters from visitors wanting to return artifacts that were removed from sacred grounds. For example, fragments of pottery are often stolen from Native American burial sites only to be nervously returned to the national park soon after. Park rangers report that the thieves' reasons are always the familiar story that they've experienced extremely bad luck, illnesses, and other misfortunes since sampling the stolen relics. John Wesley Powell. In 1869, the one-armed Civil War veteran John Wesley Powell headed the first group of white explorers along the Colorado River, venturing through the uncharted, raging currents of the Grand Canyon. Towards the lower edge of the canyon, Powell and his party came across massive boiling rapids that appeared impassable. Seeing Powell's plan to advance forward as madness, 3 of the men decided to separate from the party and take their chances scaling the steep cliffs of the canyon. Meeting the danger head-on, Powell and the remaining men forged their way into the treacherous rapids awaiting them. Within 2 days, their group miraculously arrived at the mouth of the Virgin River, where they encountered settlers on the riverbank. In a cruel twist of fate, the 3 men who had left the expedition out of concern for their lives met an untimely and brutal end. At some stage during their trek through the canyon towards the settlement, the 3 were slayed by shivwet Native Americans in apparent retaliation for the victimization of a native woman. Cold cases. Reports of skeletal remains being uncovered all around the Grand Canyon have become a common occurrence during the last century. The dreadful discoveries reflect a high number of cold cases registered in the Coconino County Sheriff's Office database. They include many unexplained disappearances and fatalities, which have led to the official formation of a cold case squad. One such case, under investigation by the unit, is an occurrence which took place at the north rim of the canyon in 1975, when all that was found at the crime scene was a red-stained shirt with 36 cuts in it. It is believed by the sheriff's office to belong to a woman targeted by members of the Outlaws, a motorcycle gang, but details have not been made public. Information about the multiple incidents taken place at the Grand Canyon, as well as the official body count, remain under wraps. Some of the anonymous victims have been bestowed innocuous names, such as Little Miss X and Valentine Sally. Piecing together crimes that were committed up to nearly a century ago and in such difficult terrain continues as a work in progress for the Cold Case Unit, which continues its efforts in the hope of bringing closure to either loved ones or the souls still haunting the area. El TOVAR Hotel. Located only 6 metres or 20 feet from the south rim, the El TOVAR Hotel was the ultimate in luxury when it opened its doors in 1905. Since that time, countless reports of spiritual apparitions have been made by terrified guests vowing to never revisit the haunted grounds. Close to the hotel's front entrance is found one of the building's signature mysteries, a flat, unremarkable gravestone with the engraved words Pearl A. Ward, 1879 to 1934. For over 100 years, innumerable guests and employees have claimed to witness a black-caped figure wandering from the stairway to the grave before moving away and vanishing into the woods. Another eerie yet infamous presence is that of a dapper elderly man on the 3rd floor. Over the years, many visitors have claimed to have been invited by the well-dressed gent to attend the hotel's annual holiday festivities. Some ghost hunting tourists are actually attracted to the location where paranormal phenomena such as ethereal figures wandering along the stony paths of the canyon to phantom labourers working hard into the night are regularly seen. The Fall. We rarely read headlines that say person falls into the Grand Canyon and perishes, because that's similar to running a story with the headline person breathes air. The less common occurrence and therefore worthy of a front page headline is rather person falls into Grand Canyon and survives. It was reported in the Grand Canyon Area Williams News in 2000 that a man from Modesto, Texas attempted to end it all by leaping into the Grand Canyon. While obviously a scenic way to go, the bid was spectacularly unsuccessful. The unhappy man fell some 30 feet when his fall was broken by some trees, and he then descended another 120 feet. Rescuers recounted that he suffered a fracture in every limb but was miraculously spared head injuries. To add to the bizarre occurrence, within just under 2 weeks, another man took exactly the same fall in exactly the same location and also survived. The incidents really mark the unpredictable nature of the Grand Canyon, which can at times be a little more forgiving than it seems. BRIGHTY of the Grand Canyon. The 1953 children's novel entitled BRIGHTY of the Grand Canyon brought fame to a small donkey who lived along the banks of Bright Angel Creek, a tributary of the Colorado River. Named BRIGHTY, the burro whiled away its time roaming the canyon and sometimes socialising with visitors and with the family that managed the North Rim Tourist Centre. According to Grand Canyon history, the real-life BRIGHTY was famous for enjoying pancakes in evading captivity, although he did at times assist construction workers and even allow children to ride him. The novel related a charming tale of BRIGHTY's life, while leaving out the horrifying details of his demise. During an unbearably cold winter in 1921, a thief who was on the run with $6,000 in Liberty bonds managed to catch the elusive BRIGHTY to use as a pack animal. BRIGHTY and the thief ended up finding an abandoned cabin, but during the journey there, the thief lost his pack and was left with very little food. Soon after that, a lost former Marine also made his way to the remote cabin. The two desperate men agreed that they'd only one option in order to ensure their own survival. Eat Brighty. Happily for every child in America, author Marguerite Henry decided to exclude that piece of information from her novel. As it happens, the Marine did survive, but the thief was last sighted wandering off into a snowstorm, never to be seen again. Karen KLEIN. Finally, this story throws a lot of doubt on the usefulness of GPS. One Christmas Eve, Karen, Eric and their 10-year-old son Isaac KLEIN were trying to enjoy a family vacation at the Grand Canyon. According to the Morning Call News Network, the family was travelling along the north rim of the Grand Canyon in the snow when their car's GPS helpfully notified them that the highway was closed. Fortunately, the GPS then further informed them that they could turn into a Forest Service road as an alternative route. However, the GPS was of course not aware that the road would turn into a mess of muddy gravel, and when the family tried to turn back, the car became engulfed in a ditch. The three were then stranded without a cell phone signal, their vehicle stuck in a channel of mud. An outdoor savvy triathlete, Karen decided to hike out and seek help. She trekked for 26 miles through 3-foot deep snow, the last part of the journey dragging an injured leg without a shoe. She ran out of food and had to eat aspen twigs when she was hungry. She put ice in her cheek to stay hydrated, but although snow is just frozen water, eating it can place you at risk of hypothermia. After 36 hours, she found a small cabin and had to break a window for entry. Despite an impending storm and mounting snowdrifts which covered her footprints, trackers finally found her there, and she survived with only frostbite and all her toes intact.